Welcoming everyone who's already here. We'll wait for a few while for the others to join. I think a few more minutes, and then we will start because I would like to honor the people who came on time. Here, we'll wait for a few while for the others to join. I think a few more minutes, and then we will start because I would like to honor the people who came on time. Here, we'll wait for a few. Yeah. I just I think let's start. People can join in. Can I request all of you all to switch on the video so at least I'm talking to people? It becomes easier for me to see. Hina, I can see you. Great. Astrid, Sudha, and Meghna, if you can switch on your video. Hi. Yeah. I mean, I have now kept it switched off, the mute. If you want to say something, you can unmute.
Yes, sorry. I just said hi.
Hi. Yes. In fact, I'm going to ask people there'll be a Q&A towards the end once I explain everything. Most of the time, mostly, I think all your questions will be answered. But in spite of that, I'm sure there'll be doubts and stuff like that. Of course, those I will answer it. And so, how we are going to go about in this whole session is that I'm going to explain what music therapy is all about. I'm not going to go into the technical details, how we do it, but touching on little process because You need to be a qualified therapist to be able to do that. But what it is, how it came into being, and why is it so important over other therapies, not undermining any other therapies, because it's an interdisciplinary therapy that we do, and in conjunction with other therapies, and it helps, and along with it. And what is the difference between music therapy and healing? Typically, do I need to sing? Do I need to be a singer to be able to get the therapy? No. So all those questions, and who are the people who's going to be benefited and how? So, and why is it important that our brain can actually understand that? So all these will be, I'm going to address all of that. And so, I mean, of course, other thing is I am streaming it on YouTube as well, so that later on, if you want to go back to listen to it, some parts, and you have more questions later on, instead of recording this and then sending it to each and every one of you, which is going to become a very heavy file, I decided that I'll put it on YouTube, which is going to be there. You can check it out anytime you want. Okay. So having said that, yeah, I can see to switch on my video. Okay, Meghna. But others, I would request you to switch it on, so that, as I said, it'll feel like as if I'm there as the living, talking to you all right over there. And first of all, I would like to not only welcome, but thank you so much taking your Saturday night time out and joining this session. So thank you so much for that. So let's dive into the whole, what is music therapy all about? Now, music, as we all know, that it helps us whenever we listen to a song or any kind of music, it relaxes us, or we want to exercise with music, or we want to dance with music, we want to just sing along, or humming when we are driving. Just think about what are the different areas of life on a daily basis we use music. Just think about it. Also, keep notes which you can ask me later, or doubts or anything. I want this to be a very interactive session where I'm also going to learn a lot of things from your questions. And that's the whole idea, not me sitting here and giving a sermon, So write down all that. So one very important thing, just think how many areas of life where we use music. Now, as we all know that right from the beginning as a child, when we try to understand something, go back to nursery. A, B, C, D, we learn in music. And if you all don't know, or some of you might know as well, A, B, C, D is in the same tune as Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, twinkle, twinkle, little star. We've never realized that why the same component of tune and everything is incorporated in different forms. And to start with that, I'm going into what music therapy is all about. So music therapy is like giving an intervention. Think about physiotherapy, think about occupational therapy, think about speech therapy, or whatever, in different forms. But it is very tailored, knowing what is that particular patient you see, client you see, needs it. It's a very client-driven therapy. Now, when I say it's client-driven therapy, what do I mean? I mean that as a music therapist, I would assess what is it that I'm looking into, because it is always a non-musical goal. Because if I'm teaching singing, it is a musical goal. So the person needs to have a voice, needs to sing, or have an interest in music, right? To be interested in music, to be able to sing. And I'm teaching music, and then I'm assessing, okay, how many songs you've learned. That's a musical goal. But music therapy has a non-musical goal. And it is very tailored whether it's a group therapy or individual therapy, it is completely tailored to what the person needs, what is the objective that I'm trying to achieve, what are the milestones I'm trying to achieve. Depending on that, I will be making my tailored session. Now, where is the music component comes? The music is the main component, is the central part of the entire therapy. Now, how does it work? There's a verbal discussion that happens, which is extremely important. And mostly it happens in the first session. That's an initial assessment where we assess as to how to be, what is required by the patient or for the client. Let's call it client, not patient. And what are we trying to achieve? Is it a physical ailment? Is it a mental ailment? Is it a special need child, cancer patient? All of that. I need to know, what am I assessing? What am I trying to achieve? Once that is decided, I would then completely document that and then write down, okay, this is how I'm going to tailor my session. Now, as you remembered, okay, one more thing, am I absolutely clear and audible to each and every person? If somebody can put it in the chat box or put a virtual thumbs up and say yes, then I will know that I am. And also, yes, great. Thank you, Meghna. Also, another thing that I want to know, that I hope I'm not going too fast. If I am, then please write on the in the chat box that go a little slow or come back. Okay. Thank you, Meg. Thank you. And so, yeah. So why am I saying it's client driven? Because the music I like might not be the music you like. So if I am going to give you the session and you are my client, I have to know your cultural background, your belief system, along with what I'm trying to achieve as a milestone, right? That's a part of assessment. The second part, and very important part, is I need to know what music you like. Now, I might like a certain kind of music, and then I'm not going to impose that on you. I have to know your music, what you like, what interests you, what makes you sad, what makes you happy, what makes you excited. I am going to work with those. So that is what, in a very short nutshell, is music therapy. Now, if I have to talk about duration, it can vary from anything from 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. Minimum 30 minutes have to be, because by the time you create the therapeutic rapport with your client, its time is up. So typically 1 hour session, 30 minutes to an hour session is what is required. Like any intervention, it also takes time to actually see the benefits of it. And therefore, you will be able to see it after few sessions, or after you will definitely feel something different in the first session. But will you be able to achieve the milestone or the objective that is being set? No. It's not a miracle. It's not a magic. It's a very scientifically proven and evidence-based therapy. Now, going back to the fact how it started off, music therapy got structured after the soldiers came back from World War I. Now, when they came back from World War I, they were physically being treated for their ailments, their wounds, and all of that. What did not get treated was their PTSD. That is the post-syndrome trauma, right? Now, people initially didn't understand that when you are in the battlefield, you are killing people, you're saving yourself, you're seeing somebody being shot down. All of that is rationalized because you're in the battlefield, you're being trained to do that. But when you come back into the civil normal life, you can't justify why you picked up the gun and killed so-and-so. Because at that point of time, that is your enemy and you're told you have to kill. But you've killed innocent people also, might have been, or whatever. But that time it was your enemy. Your adrenaline rush and everything, your discipline, or all of that, you're fighting for your country, all that was there. You didn't have time to think. When you came back, they're trying to think, why did I do that? They would get up with nightmares, or why also the nightmares of their own friends being dying, or seeing so many deaths, the dead bodies, wounded, burned. It's not easy. And why I say it's not easy, I have gone through an accident in my life, and I've seen death. I was myself almost dying, and I had PTSD. So I know it's not easy. You literally relive those situations in life as if it's happening, but you can't justify the action after that. So it's extremely difficult. And people would have to take medications for that, antidepressants. And typically, PTSD would lead to depression. And to that level, clinical depression, you'll have to have antidepressant, which has its side effects. So when all this was happening, the families would come and sing to the soldiers just an heroic welcome that, you came back, and typically trying to relive those happy times before their son, their husband, brother, or whatever who had gone in the battlefield. And it so happened, when they were singing the songs, the soldiers started remembering those happy memories. And they started smiling. They started humming. They started remembering the normal life that they led before they went to the battlefield. And that's the time the doctors figured that we treated the physical symptom, but we didn't treat the emotional symptom, the stress that they went through, which was not allowing them to heal, which was not allowing them to lead a normal life. And that time, they started structuring and using music therapy in the hospital space, and which is still used. And in US, under the board certified American Association of Music Therapy, you have to be certified to be able to practice. And it's a proper, in the different areas is where you're going to use music therapy. So the PTSD of the soldiers is where the structure started coming in. Then, of course, it started that it can be used for so many things. Because obviously, as always, US would do more research as to what are the different areas that we can use music. Because human beings are innately music. I don't know of anyone who doesn't like music, right? You will sway, you will move to some kind of music or the other, but you will. And therefore, using that component, that is a frequency which comes into the brain with the frequency, because sound, and when I'm talking about music, I'm not talking about songs only, I'm talking about the sound here. So it's just a pure physics that the sound vibration will go through the cochlea, and the vibration will enter faster than if I'm just talking. Because if I'm talking to certain people, okay, people are listening, talking, understanding. Suddenly, if I start singing, everybody will the sound sounds different. Let's just stop and hear what she's singing. That is how the brain is wired. So that is science. Therefore, when you are utilizing that component of science and using sound vibration in different forms is where music therapy is effective. And that's how music therapy started being used in different areas. So this is basically the history, how it came. So are we all clear? Okay, I can see a lot of chat. Let me also check and here it's fine. Okay. So till now, is this clear till now what I have said so far? Does anybody have any questions so far? I cannot see anybody actually. So far it's all clear. Okay. Perfect. So now coming back to the next, now the next very important question, who can benefit from music therapy, right? Literally a child in the womb to the day we pass over. Everybody can be benefited from music therapy. In different, and I'm going to touch all different areas since I talk about the child in the womb. So there was a research that was done in various places. So one of the research that has been done here at Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Institute at Jabalpur, along with a US university, an US hospital and university, they tried to 150 mothers, pregnant mother, women, they have kept them in division of 75. And one section of them were given structured music. When I say structured music, meaning at so and so point of time, they will be hearing certain music. And now that music was depending on whatever the cultural background that mother came from, the parent came from. If it was folk, then they would hear folk or whatever what was there. And I'm going to come to that, why that is so important. So they were listening to some kind of music, and there were the others who did not listen to any kind of music. Rest, all the parameters were same. It was found out when the children were born, and whatever the measurements that could be I wouldn't say measurement, they would not the IQ, they would measure it in some form. And they found the children's mobility of the mothers who were listening to music was much better. They were, every milestone, even in a newborn, was much better from the ones who did not listen to music. Then the experiment went into further research as to why is that. Apparently, the child after the 3rd month can hear sound, not words, can recognize sound. Now, by the time it's 6 to 8 months, can recognize words. So sound of the mother, that's why they say to, as much as you do some humming, something. And most important thing, let me make that very clear. In music therapy, I'm never performing. So it's never a rendition. It's never a performance. It's never, I'm going to see, oh my God, she sang so beautifully. No. It is music to be used in therapy. As therapy, I'm going to use the music, right? So it has to be to get that outcome that I want to get. Now, then the mother's voice is the most important voice that should be heard by the child. So just by putting a headphone to the mother was listening, and the mother was encouraged to hum also. So when the mother was encouraged to hum and sing something along with those lines, the child is then listening in the womb. But just putting the headphone in the mother's ears, the child can't listen to anything, nothing. But the mother was humming. Plus, what was happening, they found out that the mothers, all the parameters of the mother was way better, because all the different hormones was secreting much better. And most importantly, we know that oxytocin is something that is required for lactating. It's the love hormone. So it's very important for a pregnant woman to have that hormone in the maximum capacity possible to be able to lactate. So and more importantly, you're relaxed. So relaxed hormones in the body, or the relaxed state of mind, we all know that is the best situation, like the dream scenario. We all want that. And like everything is at ease, we don't have disease. We all heard that, right? So that's all what we want. So the mothers had to be free of stress. So the stress hormone is not rising. We know dopamine, the stress hormone, that is not required at this point of time. It should be at a lower level so that the blood pressure doesn't increase. So that gets at the lower level, the blood sugar doesn't increase. So if you can see, all the other parameters are also getting balanced, right? It's just not one, right? We have different neurons, different things in our body. Every system, circulatory, endocrine system, all systems are working parallelly. And so everything is being taken care of. And that's how it is affecting the child. And I have a live example. One of my students who learned singing from me, when she conceived the second time, I insisted that she does not leave the class and go. I said, no, whatever happens, you please come and sing. And you wouldn't believe, her child sings things that she even never imagined. And of course, the child has an I mean, I can't even explain it in science how that child knows my voice very well, because of course I used to sing, and has this beautiful soul connection with me. But more importantly, for the child, she can pick up any song. She's very good in maths, very good in a lot of things, and I'm coming to that. So that was a live example, and of course, science has backed it. And the best part is now science is able to measure a lot of things like the melatonin level, the different hormonal level, and everything, which helps us to justify that it is working. Because otherwise, how will we get the evidence that the blood pressure has gone down? Also, the saliva gives us the stress. You can detect the stress from the saliva. So all these things the parameters can be checked. So, and it is checked, and we encourage that it is being checked, and that's how we know that it is working. So that was for the child, right? Now, and as of course, it has also now been proved that a child who's musically inclined and the brain of a musical person is actually different from a person who's non-musical, in the sense artists. They are actually good in maths. They're actually good in logic. They're actually good in a lot of things. And these are all coming with science now. So we are able to justify so many more things. The other thing that is happening is, and a very important factor is rhythm. It's just not sound, it's rhythm. And we all know our heart beats and everything at a rhythm, right? So if everything is at a rhythm, and when we are absolutely stressed out, what is happening? Our heartbeat is increasing, pulse rate is increasing, or it is pulse rate is going down, we are having a stroke or some. All of this, it is not in rhythm, right? The moment things are not in rhythm, we know that something is the problem with us. What do? Immediately? We take deep breath. What is happening? We are activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So through the vagus nerve, we are doing that. Now with music, you can do that even faster. Therefore, from a fright and a flight mode, our body gets into a rest and relax mode. The moment that happens, the overwhelm, everything that my mind is not working, what signal am I giving to the brain? Everything calms down. Right? Are you all with me till here? Why are we not putting on our video? I would love to see faces smiling at me. Yes, thank you, Deepshika. And yes, so all that. Now, let's talk about the different areas where music can be. So I'm going to actually, okay, just before that, let me just say what are the different. So as I said, when it relaxes the body, somebody send me a smiley. Okay. Thank you, Meghna. And so lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar, sleep becomes better. And we use different frequencies, and we see that it basically relaxes us, everything. Now, very important thing about music therapy is, and let me get into that process, that in the therapy session, you might all want to know, right? What happens in the therapy session? Do you sing? I sing? What happens? So there is different ways how the therapy takes place. Now, it can be receptive, like supposing a person is in a coma or in the hospital setting where the person can't speak at all. And it can be in different areas. Then it is definitely palliative care or differently. It can be receptive, or mostly it is receptive. But we find out from the caregiver what the patient likes, what kind of music the patient would like to hear. And we get a lot of feedback. That is very important. And the brain immediately connects with that. And then we do the singing, and that is the time it is receptive. But active participation in the music, like song making together, lyric analysis, because sometimes what happens is certain lyrics will talk to you. why we say that some song is like, oh my God, I love it so much. But we've never really analyzed, why did you love it? Did you love the sound of it? Did you like the rhythm of it? Did you like the tone of it? Did you like the lyrics of it? We never sit and analyze, right? But we do that in this therapy. And you'll be surprised to know the kind of things people say, which they realize, oh, I never thought about that. So when do we work so much with lyric analysis? At the rehabs, drug addiction, alcoholism, in the neurodevelopment, psychosomatic cases, schizophrenia, all of these areas, psychiatrist ward, all of this depression, mood disorder, bipolar, all their lyric analysis really, really helps. Because sometimes what happens is you're unable to say what is really bothering you. Because you're unable to say, because you're unable to communicate, you're able to communicate through music. Music is the best form of communication. You will be drawn to a certain music the moment you hear a certain song at different, and just imagine at certain point of time certain songs will really touch you, and the other time something else. Why? Have you ever thought about it? It's not just by fluke. It is at that point of time what you are going through in life. Good, bad, ugly, whatever, doesn't matter. Whatever. So you cannot, if there is a like very high vibration dance music going on, are you going to be able to sleep? Are you going to be able to meditate? No, never. Because your dopamine level, as it's like highest, and that because we are like dancing and having fun, you need that. But when you're going to do yoga, you're going to meditate, relax, you want an absolute serene kind of music. And you will not be able to get your body to jump and fight and, have that fun. You won't be able to, because the brain is only wired like that. And whatever the brain wires, the body will act accordingly. Which comes to the next thing in dementia, where lyrics play a very, very important role. Because the part of the brain which stores music, especially the music you grew up with, that depletes or goes out of the brain right at the end. So when I'm working with dementia patient, I would understand from the caregiver what song they like. So then they would remember those songs and they are so alive as if they remember everything. And next minute, they don't recognize their near dear ones. But like people would think that, how is she or he remembering the songs? Because that is stored in the brain. They haven't forgotten it. The day they've forgotten that, also they've forgotten everything. So now you may say, can we reverse dementia? No, we can't. Music therapy cannot reverse dementia. What it can do is that you prolong their life, give them a better, they live as long as they live. That time they are like, oh my God, they're enjoying their life. They've become like those young teenagers and they're having so much fun. They're remembering the best times of their life or whatever had happened. Why not give them that? So that's how it works in dementia. How it works in Parkinson's, a lot of body movement. Because the mind remembers a song, there's a rhythm. As I told you here, rhythm plays a lot of role. So with the rhythm, they are moving. With the rhythm, they are trying to talk. With the rhythm, they are trying to do everything with the rhythm in the head. And Cleveland, again, has done a lot of work with Parkinson's and dementia. And it has been seen in one of the patients that he couldn't talk at all. He used to be absolutely quiet. Then from the caregiver, they found out the kind of songs they like. So they put it on a earphone for him and he was listening. After 7 days, he started moving at the rhythm of the song that was playing in his head. Then he was given a stick. He started walking on the rhythm. Because in Parkinson's, what is happening? The prefrontal cortex and that it is not giving that, okay, now you have to walk. Now you have to move. That coordination has not happened. So actually, what is music doing? Creating those synapses that now you have to. So they're walking in that rhythm. After some time, they took the thing out. The person is still singing in the head and moving in that rhythm. And slowly, the gait, that is the walk, is becoming better and better. So how, when you see all these actually evidences, it was like, oh wow, I had no clue that music could do so much beautiful things to people. And imagine if you can restore these things when they are going through this Parkinson's and all of these other areas, how how beautiful it is, right? And more importantly, the left side of the brain, where the Broca's area is, where the speech is being developed, and the say the speech is not there. So the right brain, which is tackling the melody, is more strong. So what it does, it takes over the left brain and tries to help, like our how in our body, when one part is weak, the other part automatically, which is strong, would try to help that part, the weak part, right? So if one hand is not working so well, we try to do everything with the other hand. Similarly, the right hemisphere then takes over on the left hemisphere and helps to form the word. So aphasia, which is where you global aphasia, which is said that you can't speak or the speech is not being produced. It can be due to stroke, trauma, or any something like that. Then through the music, they try to format the words coming slowly, slowly, slowly. And then you take it out. Now you might ask that, will they have to always do it musically? No. That's the whole idea, right? After you give the therapy, when you take out the music and you see all these things, the neuroplasticity has happened, and now they are working properly. Now they are walking properly. They are talking properly, because that is called melody intonation therapy. Then there is cueing, rhythmic speech therapy. All this is with music. And if you see that when all these various other therapies are given, dance therapy, yoga therapy, or whatever, music is always a part. It's like a catalyst. It like kind of helping all the other therapies to become better. In case, are we clear till here? Anybody? I mean, you can write down your question. Yeah? Okay. I mean, of course, I will be taking all the questions as and well. And in cancer, what we do, we work with the pain management. We work with prognosis. We don't say that it's going to get all right. And because we can't, even the doctors can't say, right? But what we do is, it is very important when they have lost all hope, we do guided meditations with relaxation therapies to make them feel that things can become better. That's one, giving them that hope. Number two is that because they're all so depressed, they're pain and everything. So pain and music is perceived in the brain through the same neuron impulses. And therefore, the stronger the impulse, that is what the patient will feel. So if my music has a stronger impulse, they will not feel the pain. Exactly the way how we tell little children, no, nothing has happened. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry, don't worry. What are you doing? You're diverting the focus. Pain is there. The moment you divert the focus, they will not feel the pain at that point of time. So I have worked with cancer patients as well. At that point of time, they are not feeling it. Therefore, they have the hope, no, I want to get well. So then the body secretes those hormones, because that has been proved that when you're sad and depressed, the healing hormones don't come. So you want to make those come, right? So you want the brain to want to, or that desire to want to live, the desire to get well helps you to get well faster. It's just not the medicine, right? I'm sure you will all agree with me on that. So we work on those. Then, of course, children with special needs, I've been working a lot with them, autism spectrum, Down syndrome. Their instrument playing. Another very important part is instrument playing. Instrument playing, active instrument playing, helps not only learning a skill, but so many parts of the brain gets utilized because you're trying to learn. There's a mind-muscle coordination. There's a focus. There is this hearing of the music, trying to imitate that. You're learning the notes, and your hand movement is happening. Posture is getting better. So many things are happening at the same time. So using instruments generally as a skill is extremely good. And with children with special needs, I use a lot of instruments like a shaker or this, getting them to use a gross motor skill, fine motor skill, everything, the tambourine, the xylophone, educational goal, developmental goals, all of that. And that caters differently to each child that we handle depending on what objective I'm trying to achieve. So these are ADHD, getting them to overstimulate, like drum circles, we make do drum. You can't overstimulate a child depending on what the child is. Some child needs to be understimulated, some needs to be overstimulated. Now, all this for a therapist to understand is obviously very scientific. You just can't sit and do it. So that's where it comes, the fact that healing and therapy, music therapy, is not the same thing. When you're doing music therapy, it is healing. But when you're doing a healing like a relaxation technique with a group where you're just a holistic relaxation, right? That is called healing. But therapy is like a referral has to happen, initial, there has to be a situation from where you're making it better in life. So that is the difference between healing and therapy. But we all know that music is therapeutic, right? And also, like, I use a lot of Indian connotation. Why? Because for people who don't know that I'm an Indian classical vocalist, I have been doing a lot of research on Indian music, where along with others also, which have seen that the various tones and microtones within the Indian ragas already has those tones and microtones. Now, this has nothing to do, I will probably do an Om chanting, which I can put it in a different ragas because I know of it. And Om is a general thing. It really helps because now it has put a Hindu connotation to it, but actually it's not. Now it is taken, the world has been taken over, like do Om chanting. It is so good because breathing, another very important thing, it helps in breathing the way, because it's the best sound of the universe. And if right now we all do Om chanting together, if we all unmute ourselves, we can do an experiment. How two kinds of Om chanting will have, where all of us will unmute, but we will focus in our own voice. We will only hear our own voice. And once we will all mute. Do you all want to try that out right now?
Yeah, sure.
So everybody unmute. Everybody unmute. Unmute yourself. And I will put on this little bit of Tanpura just to because what is also being seen in as for the raga therapy, like a lot of people just say that, oh, I will sing Indian classical music and everybody will get healed. No, that is a myth. That is scientifically has not been proved at all. So let me break that myth completely. And but the different elements, the way the notes are being used, the different notes that are being used has an upward happy pentatonic scale, like there are different ragas, and so I use the Gayatri mantra on it. And also these mantras has its own vibration by itself. So where is this? Just play. I'll keep the Tanpura very low. Y'all can hear a string instrument for all those people who don't know it's the Tanpura app I'm playing. Right? And everybody unmute. I would actually request everybody to unmute. Mansi, Ujjwala, can we all unmute? Yeah. And I want you all to then write down that what was the experience after this. Okay, Ujjwala, can you unmute yourself, please? And I hope everybody else has also. Anita, all of you. Okay. Now take a deep breath, and the exhale will be on O. Because when we say we activate the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve, when we exhale more than we inhale, we activate the vagus nerve. immediately the parasympathetic nervous system immediately gets activated. Let's work on that. And all of us will do Om, but listen to your own voice. Okay? Om. And now I will ask you all to mute yourself and do the Om. We will see the difference between the two. Now, everybody can mute yourself. And everyone else. Yeah. Prakash, you can mute yourself, please. And now we'll continue the Om. I hope everybody has. I'll just. Om. 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 Yes. Yawn. That's actually it is taking out a stress. Yawning is a form of taking out stress. So now I'm opening it up for questions. I mostly covered everything except for the fact that, the technical processes, which I'm sure you all already have used some technical terms. But I would love to know what questions do you have. You can unmute yourself, ask the question so that everybody else can also hear and I can answer. But before that, I want you to actually tell me, anybody who wants to share, what was the difference in the previous Om and this Om? How did you feel? And then you can ask your questions at the same time. Who wants to share? Please, the more you share, the more you'll understand what it is. Or more, whatever questions you want to ask, please go ahead. This is the whole idea to have this session, was for you all to understand and for you to ask me questions, your doubts. Astrid, since I can see you, you want to share anything, ask any questions?
Well, I don't know whether I really felt any difference between the first and the second.
Okay.
But what I did feel was if I said the Om softly, I preferred it. And I was able to release my breath in a more uniform and sustained manner than if I did it loudly. Okay, now how that affected me, I don't know. Maybe the softer one made me feel a little more calm and peaceful. So that was my observation about saying the Om. I also liked, the second one where you used, I don't know what you would call it, but different kind of intonations, when when we were saying the Om. My question is, when you are looking at therapy, you mentioned that you have to use music that the client is familiar with.
Absolutely.
But is it possible that frequencies can be, what shall I say, can have their own healing power so that one never doesn't necessarily have to understand the music? So, for instance, somebody may not know much about Indian classical music or vice versa, Western classical music. But the sound itself can evoke something inside. So, that was one of my questions.
Absolutely. It is sound. It is only the frequency of the sound. Now, whether we give the name of Indian classical, Western classical, doesn't matter. You don't even need to understand, right? It is absolutely the sound which goes in the form of whatever we do with, like, because see, now you might like a certain kind of sound, right now when you said that the softer one made you more relaxed, that is the frequency you relate to. Now I can even just say or whatever I say doesn't matter, what lyrics I put to it doesn't matter, it's the sound. Now when I made the intonation, I completely changed frequencies of various, and that made you feel calmer or relaxed. And that is exactly what it is. So you don't need to know at all that what is this particular song. And I mean, and in fact, I learn, like when I with children, when I was doing with special kids, some children, the Muslim population, I actually learned the azan. I played the azan, I said it because that made them calm down, because that's what they've been hearing as a child. And the Maharashtrian child needed a certain thing, so I did that. But when I was doing the Om as a form of universal intonation and everything, everybody calmed down. We were all having body movements and playing and everything, and I needed everybody to calm down. The Om relaxation technique all over the world, it has been proved that it calms everybody down. So that was part of the Om. But yes, you are absolutely right. It's the frequency. It is only the frequency. And that is what something called entrainment. What frequency at that point of time your brain needs as a therapy, I'm supposed to assess, a therapist, I'm supposed to assess that and match it with the frequency of the sound. And that's how I will be able to achieve what I want to achieve as a milestone. Have I been able to answer your questions? Astrid, okay, I think what just happened? Got knocked off for some reason. Okay. Okay, Meghna, you said I could focus more when I muted myself. Exactly. So imagine when there's commotion happening all around and we couldn't focus. Now, but that is what life is all about. So for children, when we okay, Griselda, I'm coming to your question. And answering Meghna's question is that when we, for children, when they have a lot of things going in the head, the multiple signals that the brain is getting, to calm them down and give them the focus. For children with ADHD and all of that, it's a very important thing that we do. With the chaos around, we bring the focus. And not only with children with ADHD, it can be with anybody, right? When we don't know how to focus, through music, we help that how you can focus. That's also very important. And that's how you said, then it was muted because you couldn't hear anybody else. You could only hear my voice. And then that's how you focused. Okay, Griselda, coming to you, because with regard to special needs, a plan made for each child. Music therapy, yes, absolutely. Whether it's a group therapy or if it's a group therapy, then it's a homogeneous group, like everybody will be a Down syndrome, or everybody would be with a on the spectrum or intellectual disability, or whatever the assessment would be. Or if there's an individual session, 100% it has to be a plan tailor-made for each child, because each child will have their own objectives. What are the milestones that need to be achieved? So it is very important that we see the file, take the feedback from the special educators, and then understand what that child needs to achieve. And we give the tailor-made the therapy session accordingly. Who else? Your questions? Some people got knocked out. I can kind of see this. Okay. Okay, tell me whatever anybody question, and then we can wrap up the session. Okay, Griselda. Anybody else? Any questions? Or else we will wrap it up. Okay. All right. If nobody has any more question, then should we wrap this session?
So thank you so much, Ivy.
Most welcome. Even later on, if anybody has any question, all of you have my numbers. Please feel free to, because it is very difficult on one-on-one to keep explaining everything. That's the reason why I did the Zoom session, so that I know it's a Saturday night, so many people couldn't join, but I will keep having these sessions to explain it better. And then, of course, whatever your own private questions that can be, I'm happy to explain to. Yeah. All of you have a wonderful, nice spring.
Thank you so much. It was a very nice session. And
Thank
I'm hoping
you,
to
Ivy.
use some of the healing in my classroom.
Okay.
Maybe just very general music, just
Sure.
very general healing, relaxing music
Sure.
for my children.
I had a friend of mine actually who used. So her husband is a singer.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, decades ago, he met with a very bad accident and was in coma
Oh.
many days. And his wife played his music to him right through his coma, and he seems to remember that when he came out of coma eventually and went back to singing. But
absolutely, that it works. That has been scientifically proved for the coma patient. So their brain, you're working in the coma, what happens is you have to give the brain what is to be expected. So you cannot give a sudden high vibration, nothing. On a regular interval, you have to keep giving. So the brain is expecting, okay, now this is going to come, now this is going to come, now this is going to come. So the brain is also relaxed and knows that this is the music that is going to come. And that's how a lot of coma patients have come out of the coma situation with music. That has a lot of research has been done on that. So yeah, you proved it with your friend. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, bye-bye.
Griselda wanted to know some success stories with special kids. Yes, loads of it. Because I do work with special kids. They started learning how to talk, increase their vocabulary, increase their motor skills, and being able to write properly, and new words. They even started to sing a little bit more, the movement, many. I can share a lot of stories. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and good night.